Well, good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, December the 17th, the week before Christmas. We're going to check in with the guys and see what kind of presents our fisheries have to offer you. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, December the 17th. We are 1 week from Christmas. Tom is getting ready to crank that Mercury up and go play on Guntersville. What's happening up there at Guntersville?
Well, Dano, unfortunately, we're just getting more of the same. We just keep getting more and more rain. I've been expecting this to, I don't know what to expect with Mom Nature, but, it just keeps coming and coming and coming. And right now, we've just got real heavy current. Last week we talked about a little bit of mud. That mud's kind of moved back in some of those cuts, some of those feeder creeks. We're starting to see a lot of that runoff mud. It's just a heavy current. It's a lot more fun than going to the mall shopping, I can tell you that, but it's still a little tough out there. Your swim baits and your jerk baits and things of that nature are just kind of, taking a second run to your rattling baits and things that are going to make a little bit of water movement, your bigger, your chatter jigs, things like that. But, it's just been a real tough deal, but I think most people that fish gunners will realize at this time of the year, we're going to see a lot of water. We're kind of hoping it's going to move some of that eelgrass on down and out. So make room for some new grass growth. We're just a couple of months away from some of the best trap fishing you can get on Tennessee River. So, right now it might be a good time to, hit the stores and buy a few presents instead of going out on the, running on the lake. But if you are out there, definitely look for some crappie. The crappie are really hanging around those some bridge pilings, any kind of deeper brush piles that you may have. The grass lines, it's a little bit tougher just because of the mud, but, there's still some fish out there to be caught. Absolutely.
It seems like it's the time of the year that it might be a little bit easier to locate them because most of the fish are going to be next to some of that hard cover. You may be able to fire up your Mercury and be able to run hard cover to hard cover, bridge piling to bridge piling, but it's a little bit tougher to bite. Darker colors, brighter colors, is that kind of stuff you're looking at?
Absolutely. Black and blue chatterbaits, that kind of deal. Your reds are starting to pick up, already as far as rattle traps, but I think it's still just a reaction bite. But you're absolutely correct. If you can get in those river bends, the turns, the cuts, where you're getting a current break, it's definitely pushing the fish up there. It's just a matter of going out there and hitting those fish. The lakes there's not a lot of guys out there right now, so it's a great time to get out and search out for those those little areas that are going to produce for sure.
Well, Tom, thanks to our Mercury Pro staffer, Tom Ott. Appreciate everything. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right, guys. Hey, we'll talk to you, and if you get out there, be safe, wear your life jackets, tight lines.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, December the 17th. We're joined by Gentry Gordy, our good friend and pro staffer from down there on the lower end of the state. We're going to talk Jordan Lake and Lake Martin. Gentry, if I'm going to drop that Falcon Mercury in the water down there at Jordan Lake right now, what do I want to do?
Yes, sir. Side note, I had a buddy go to Martin, and they are killing the crappie.
Ooh, like hearing that. What do they catch?
Yeah. Your forward-facing sonar, finding them trash piles, man, and they're dropping jigs down. Probably 12, 15 foot. He sent me some pictures, man, of, some balls, and it's unbelievable. And they're catching some big ones. In this 5 to 6 foot range in there. And it just, you got to kind of let it speak to you when you get out there. But once you get a pattern rolling, an area in a creek, and you've got that good stain, that's what I look for. A lot of these guys will catch them still on them A-rigs, even when the water gets a little dirty. But and it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of big fish that eat them. I just like to get up shallow. It seems like you can really find some big spotted bass this time of year.
Well, spotted bass are certainly one of my favorite things to chase. Do you want to look rocks? Is that kind of a thing that's going to present, or is it really more of a wood type deal?
I would, I wouldn't pass up a riprap bank. I think that falls in line a little more when that water gets colder, and them rocks hold some more heat and that water's dirty. I think, that comes into play a little bit more, but I sure wouldn't, I wouldn't pass one. I'd fish it right now.
All right. Well, let's turn to Lake Martin. If I'm going to go drop my Falcon Mercury in the water down there, what do I want to do?
Dano, I would probably check Sandy. It's a big creek down there, midway down the lake. It'll muddy up pretty quick, and for Martin, muddy water on Martin's not easy to find. But when you do get it back there in Sandy, you start to see a lot of your better largemouth. And if tournament wise, that's what you want to look for. If you just want to go out fun fishing and catch a boatload of fish, it's still a lot of the same. Your jerk baits and your top water plugs early. That water temperature just ain't got down yet, but it's fixing to.
Well, Gentry, as always, man, we appreciate everything. Thanks for the help on Jordan Lake and Martin this time of the year. Sounds like I need to put the Falcon Mercury on Martin. Thanks, brother.
All right, bye. I'll take care.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, December the 17th. Hey, we're going to join with our Falcon Boat Mercury Pro Staffer, Lee Pitts, who's going to talk about Weiss Lake and Neely Henry. Lee, what's going on at Weiss Lake right now?
We've had a little bit of rain about midweek, but it's not that bad. It wasn't one of those Forrest Gump blow sideways kind of rain. It just a kind of drizzle, messy day all day. So some of the places are not really as stained as what you would think. I know I've had some trips, more midweek, and just we didn't go out Wednesday during that rain, but Thursday we had a pretty good day and catching some fish. The fish are getting where they need to be for the winter. It's just, like I said, with this wind and a little bit of rain, it's made it a little uncomfortable for the fishermen, but still catching some fish. The crappie are wadding up in some of the backs of these creeks, in that deeper water, just to kind of get ready to sit there and just feed on shad and just make it through the winter. So they're where they need to be. Still, the fish that are in the creek channels themselves, we're pulling too much water. It's hard to fish for those, so we're having to go to like a drop back a little bit and get in some of these back creeks and some of the docks that's got 5, 6, 7 foot of water on them, and catch them around those the docks that's got some poles on them.
What about the bass bite? What are you finding in there?
Yeah, everybody I've talked to, and the bass bites, you can catch them in a couple of different ways right now. Some of the guys that are having your better stringers, we've had some 18, 19-pound stringers here in the last couple of weeks. Wow. On whites, and those guys are staying shallow with a square bill, spinner bait, and flipping the jig. But if but they're fishing for 5, 6 bites a day. If you want to go out there and catch some fish, you can put on a shaky head and a drop shot and get off some of these long points and some harder bottoms. You can catch a bunch of fish. I talked to some guys the other day, said they were catching 20, 25 fish, but they're not having the weight that those guys that are getting up real shallow and kind of getting around this wood cover, getting around some of these stumps out on the river. But once again, you're fishing for 5, 6 bites if you're going to do that.
Real quick, let's wrap up Neely Henry. If I'm going to put my Falcon Mercury in there, what am I going to do?
Neely is about the same as last week. You're catching some fish at Neely, spinner bait, jerk bait, even throwing some plastics and some jigs on it too. But you've got a long stretch of river down there that you can beat and bang and jump around. The key to it is moving. Fire that Mercury up. Cover some water. Don't just sit on one place hoping it's going to kick in. Just go till you find those fish that are feeding. That's been the key for it. Just move, let that Mercury eat, and just keep on going.
Well, we appreciate everything, Lee. Thanks for the time, and we'll talk to you again next week.
All right, guys. Thank y'all.
Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, December the 17th. We're joined by our Bass Cat Mercury Pro, Josh Heron. We're going to talk a little bit of Logan Martin and Lay Lake. Josh, what's going on in your neck of the woods?
Man, we got us another Mother Nature going on. She's in a foul attitude this week. Decided to bring us a lot of water and some wintry time.
That is the truth.
So we're going to learn that you can put hot hands everywhere over the next course of the week.
Yeah, that's going to help keep you warm a little bit. But how are you going to keep warm fishing? What's going on there?
Man, it's not terrible. I actually got out last weekend. It was a little chilly, but fishing's actually getting a little bit better. There's a couple more fish to be caught. There's still a lot of fish in that kind of middle ground because as cold as it is right now, water temps up until a few days ago, they got back up into the 60s.
Yeah.
So with this really cold rain we got, we're probably going to be looking at 52, 51 before the end of the weekend. And that's going to start putting some fish in the pushing some fish back a little bit harder. So these fish on Logan especially, they're really big fans of red clay chunk rock, stuff like that when it gets cold. And Lay's kind of that same ground, except you wind up with it's more gravel based. So any of these little high places you see in pockets, these longer these creek mouths that have these long protruding points and all, if you'll start graphing around on them, side imaging is really good this time of year because gravel and really hard bottom all act the same way. You'll get these little glowing returns.
Yep.
And that's good places to start looking, especially on these really cold mornings.
So with the water being a little bit dirtier, we're still going to be talking reaction baits, and if we do have to slow down, maybe a bigger jig with a little bit more, water movement out of them.
Yeah, man, you're fixing to start getting the time of year where like old school mop jigs shine, football jigs, any of you want a bigger profile. I mean, it's kind of like trying to find takeout in the dark. So you need to give them something to look for, whether it's a neon light or something with a big profile that they can really pick up.
Maybe a rattle trap, bladed jig, big thumping spinnerbait, jig with a big trailer on it, right? That's what we're looking for?
Absolutely, man. If it doesn't crash, boom, or bang, leave it at the house.
Well, that'll do it, folks, for this week. From our Bass Cat Mercury Pro, Josh Heron, talking about Logan Martin and Lay Lake. Thanks, brother. We appreciate it.
See you, man.
That'll do it for our Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, December the 17th. Hey, don't forget, this was our last day open for the holiday season. We won't be back until after the first of the year. If you need something today, make sure to get in before noon. We'll have the stuff you need in the loft while we're remodeling. Parts department, of course, service, and everybody else, we're here to say hi until noon today. Merry Christmas to all of you from Bucks Island. We will be back for the fishing report next week, and we'll look forward to talking to you then. Have a Merry Christmas. Talk to you soon.